محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. دستامونو بالا بیاری برای سلامتی حاجی امسال امام زمان دعا کنی. اللهم كل ولي الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليك وعلى آبائك في هذه الساعة وفي كل وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. امشب شب شام شهادت مرآت احمد است. عالم دخیل باقر آل محمد است. مولای شیعه حضرت باقر شهید شد. پیر کمیت و دلبر جابر شهید شد. از مادرش رسد به حسن از پدر حسین. از هر نظر حسن بود و از هر نظر حسین. در پادگان شاه شهیدان حضور داشت. در جرگه سپاه شهیدان حضور داشت. در کودکی مصیبت عظما به او رسید. در کربلا به غیر جمال خدا ندید. شنیدید امام باقر علیه السلام در صحنه کربلا کودک خردسالی بودند. اینطور مقاتل نوشتن 4 تا 5 سالشون بود. همراه پدرشون امام زین العابدین در کربلا بودند. عمری نشست بر سر سجاده پدر. آموخت بندگی بر سجاده پدر. مبهوت نور انجم رویش ستاره ها. مشعوف شهد ناب علومش زراره ها. نور وجود اقدس آن عالم غیوب روشن تر از درخشش خورشید در قلوب. معصوم هفتم آینه پنجم رسول. یاد و محبتش به دل ماست لا یزول. یا باقر العلوم گرفتار غیبتیم آقا جانم یا باقر العلوم به احوال ما نظر کن آقا جان گرفتار غیبتیم چشم انتظار دیدن موعود امتیم در راه اهل بیت ید واحدیم ما شاگرد پیروی ابو خالدیم ما عالم در انتظار طلوعی مجدد است دنبال رؤیت مه آل محمد یا رب کجاست منتقم قربت بقی آن زائر همیشگی تربت بقی این شبایی که از این ایام حج بیت الله کسی حج نمیتونه بره غیر از امام زمان کسی بر مزار جدش امام باقر حاضر نمیشه اونجا تو تاریکیای بقی صدا بزنه بگه یا باقر العلوم انشالله راه زیارت خانه خدا و حج بیت الله باز بشه با هم بریم مثل این ایامی دور حریم نورانی رسول خدا بشینیم رو به قبرستان بقی عرض ادب کنیم یا رب کجاست منتقم قربت بقی آن زائر همیشگی تربت بقی یا رب به حق گل پسر دختر حسن دیگر ظهور منجی ما را رقم بزن یه جمله روزه بخوانم عرضم تمام امام باقر شما رو زهر دادم به شهادت رسوندم اما تمام عمر امام باقر میگفت حسین آخه در کربلا بود هر جا زینب و اولاد از ناقه افتادن اونم از ناقه افتاد هر منزل که سر جدش حبی عبدالله بردن امام باقرم رفت لذا فرمود به فرزندش امام صادق برو در حج برو در منا به حاجیا بگو ذکر مصیبت بابامون حبی عبدالله بگن یه شهیدی در کربلا بود پیر مردای کوفه با عصا اومدن دامنای عربی رو پر از سگ کردن صلی الله علیک یا ابا عبدالله زمزمه کنیم زیارت عاشورا رو به نیابت از همه گذشتگان پدر مادران و بنوبو مرحومین تازه گذشته ای که ذکرشون شد نامشون در این جلسه برده شد بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم السلام علیک یا ابا عبدالله السلام علیک یا ابن رسول الله السلام علیک یا ابن امیر المؤمنین و ابن سید الوسین السلام علیک یا ابن فاطمة سیدت نساء العالمین السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثار والبتر الموتور السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار يا أبا انشالله این صداها برسه کربلا یا ابا لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشيائهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم يا أبا يا أبا إني سلم لمن صالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان ولعن الله بني أمية قاطبا ولعن الله ابن مرجانا ولعن الله عمر بن سعد ولعن الله شمرا ولعن الله أمة نسرجت والجماد وتنقبت لقتالك بابي التاب أمي لقد عظم مصابي بك فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني تلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة يا أبا عبد الله إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمي وجوري عليكم وعلى أشيائكم برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشيائهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أولياءكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة. فأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله وأن يرزقني طلب ثانيكم مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يؤتيني بمصابيبكم أفضل ما يؤتي مصابا مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد ابن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرعت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضائل عليهم اللعنة منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جادت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتلهم. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. دست ادب به سینه بگذاریم، احترام کنیم. انشالله عرفه‌ای با هم کربلا باشیم، اونجا دعای عرفه بخونیم، بگیم السلام علیکم یا ابا عبدالله وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفلاك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. شما بخوانید السلام علی حسین و علی علی ابن و علی اولاد و علی اصحاب حسین. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن وابدأ به أولا ثم لعن الثانية والثالثة والرابعة. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجان وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سر به سجده بگذاریم، عرض بداریم اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين، لك على مصابهم الحمد لله على عظيم رضيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, I'll make a couple of announcements in Farsi. I'll recite the Holy Quran, inshallah, and then I'll make a few announcements in English, and then we'll proceed with this speech by our respected scholar, Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Sheikh Ahmad Mudarris. Please recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. سلام و خیر مقدم عرض میکنم خدمت همه برادران و خواهران عزیز. خیلی خوشحالیم که در خدمت همه دوستان هستیم. مجددا زیارتتون میکنیم. برنامه امشب تعلق داره به پیشگاه پنجمین اختر تابناک آسمان امامت و ولایت حضرت امام محمد باقر علیه السلام. هدیه به پیشگاه امام محمد باقر علیه السلام. لطفاً این صلوات بلند قرائت بفرمایید. همینطوری مجلس تعلق داره به گرامی داشته یاد و خاطره برادر گرامی سرور عزیزمون، خادم این مسجد، خدمتگزار همه شما دوستان، برادر عزیزمون آقای حاج کاظم امینی، برادر ایشون حاج حسین آقای امینی یکی دو روز پیش به دیار باقی شتافتن. خدمت ایشون، خانواده محترمشون، همسرشون، فرزندانشون صمیمانه تسلیت عرض می‌کنیم. ان شاءالله که غم آخرشون باشه، ان شاءالله که روح اون مرحوم قرین رحمت و مغفرت باشه. برای شادی روح مرحوم لطفاً یه صلوات بفرستید. همینطور بسیار مفتخریم که در خدمت دوست و برادر گرامی حضرت حجت الاسلام و المسلمین حاج مهدی آقای دردشتیان هستیم که قدم رنجه فرمودن، از ایران تشریف آوردن، مهمان ما هستند انشاءالله این چند روز. ایشون هم متاسفانه چند روز گذشته پدر بزرگشون رو از دست دادن. خدمت پدر گرامیشون که تو مجلس تشریف دارن صمیمانه تسلیت عرض می‌کنیم. همینطور آقا مهدی انشاءالله که روح ایشون قرین رحمت و مغفرت باشه، انشاءالله که خدا به شما صبر بده، انشاءالله که شما باقیات الصالحات هستین برای ایشون، افتخار دارین تشریف آوردین، انشاءالله روزهای آینده هم در خدمت ایشون هستیم. برای این دوتا مرحومی که اخیراً از جمع ما رفتن لطف کنید قرائت کنید سوره مبارکه فاتحه رو بعد از صلوات بلند بر محمد و آل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. من قبل اینکه قرآن رو شروع کنم اجازه میخوام که یه اناونسمنت کوچیک بکنم به فارسی، چون خیلی مستمعین فارسی زبان اینجا داریم. انشاءالله آقا مهدی هم تشریف دارن، آقای دردشتیان تشریف دارن. دوشنبه که روز عید روز عرفه هستش، انشاءالله بعد از ظهر ساعت 5:30 قرائت دعای عرفه رو خواهیم داشت در مسجد. ساعت 5:30 بعد از ظهر انشاءالله حاضرین به غائبین برسونن و همه دوستان تشریف بیارن. میدونین روز عرفه روزی هستش که میگن کسایی که شب قدر رو از دست دادن فرصتشون روز عرفه است که بخشیده بشن. انشاءالله که همه توفیق داشته باشیم که از فیض دعای عرفه بهره مند بشیم. انشاءالله تشریف بیارید. نماز مغرب و شام انشاءالله اینجا اقامه خواهد شد و بعد افطار هم در خدمت دوستان خواهیم بود. افطار هم صرف خواهد شد. روز بعد از اون که سه شنبه باشه روز عید قربان هستش که شاید جز دو تا عید بزرگ مسلمین هست. انشاءالله بر همه ما فریضه است که گرامی بداریم اون روز. ساعت 9 صبح انشاءالله اقامه نماز عید قربان رو خواهیم داشت. حجت الاسلام و المسلمین آقای دردشتیان هستن، انشاءالله ایشون نماز و اقامه خواهند کرد ساعت 9 صبح. لطفاً دیر نیایید که دوستانی که میخوان به سر کارشون هم برسن. ما همیشه با خودمون بحث میکنیم که چه ساعتی شروع کنیم، چه ساعت زودتر دیرتر. 9 صبح یه جورایی اون بینابینه که انشالله دوستانی که خوابالودتر هستن هم برسن، دوستانی که میخوان سر کارشون هم هستن برسن. انشالله که همه دوستان تشریف بیارن عید رو جشن بگیریم. هفته بعد شنبه شب مثل امشب میشه یه جورایی بین عید قربان و عید قدیر. انشالله آقای دردشیان هم تشریف دارن، انشالله آقای مدرس هم افتخار میدن در خدمتشون باشیم. انشالله جشنی بگیریم به مناسبت این دوتا عیدی که هست، عید سعید قربان و عید سعید قدیر که بزرگترین عید ما هست. انشالله دوباره همه دوستان رو تشویق میکنم که تشریف بیارن، بعد از این همه سختی و کرونا و اینها بتونیم دوره هم انشالله این دوتا عید بزرگمون رو هم جشن بگیریم. مجددا هدیه به پیشگاه امام محمد باقر علیه السلام صلوات بفرستید. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. صفحه 531 page 531 سورة الرحمن. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان رب المشرقين ورب المغربين فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يخرج منهما اللؤلؤ والمرجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان وله الجوار المنشآت في البحر كالأعلام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان كل من عليها فان كل من عليها فان كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان صدق الله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. I would like to welcome all of our brothers and sisters tonight to Masjid Al-Nabi. We're privileged to have you with us tonight. We are commemorating the martyrdom of our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad ibn Ali Al-Baqir alayhi salam. For the honor of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, please recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. It's a little bit late. I don't want to take too much of your time. A couple of announcements. Again, our condolences to our dear brother, Brother Kazim Amini, who just lost his brother, Brother Hussein Amini. Please accept our condolences. May Allah bless his soul and give you patience and ajr, inshallah, for this musibah. Also, we are privileged and honored to have our brother Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin Mahdi Dardashti with us. He has lost his grandfather. We have his father with us as well. Our condolences to that brother Dardashtian's family as well. To the soul of these two brothers who just passed away from our families and our communities, please recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Just a couple of announcements in terms of the programs, the upcoming programs. Monday will be the day of Arafah, inshallah. We'll have a program with the presence of Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin Dardashtian. We'll start at 5:30 p.m. at Masjid Al-Nabi. So please make sure you join us and encourage others to join us as well. After the program, inshallah, iftar will be served as well. And then the day after that, Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., we'll be having the day prayer, the Eid prayer for Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Qurban, inshallah, 9 a.m. in the morning. This is again a continuation of the collaboration between Masjid Nabi and Yasin. I think Masjid Rasul Hajaga will announce it. There will be a Dua Arafah and Eid prayer at Masjid Rasul as well, probably with a slight difference in the timing. So make sure you join us for those programs as well. Next Saturday, we'll be celebrating Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Qurban, and Eid al-Ghadir as well at Masjid Nabi. Again, I encourage all of you to join us as well. We'll be sending out emails and announcements as well. Sorry it took a little bit too long. We are honored, like the previous weeks, to have our respected scholar, Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Sheikh Ahmad Mudaris with us. Inshallah, we'll listen to his wisdom tonight. Let's welcome him with your loudest salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. With permission from Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Ajay Dardashtian, inshallah, soon we will be able to benefit from his wisdom as well. I will not take a lot of your time, as the announcement already made. Tonight we are commemorating 7th of the Hijjah anniversary of the Shahada of our 5th Imam, but also two of our dear members, especially first Haj Kazim Amini, who lost his brother, and also our respected visiting scholar Ajay Dardashtian, and his respected father, who lost his grandfather. Interestingly, both of them, their name was Hussein, and the father of the marhum's name also was Ali. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of those that they were named after, bless their soul and grant them inshallah salvation, and grant to the family sabr, patience, and ability inshallah to remember them through good deeds, and inshallah remember them through the legacy that they remain after themselves. Inshallah, let's remember them and send a blessing to their soul with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر كلا لا وزر إلى ربك يومئذ المستقر ينبأ الإنسان يومئذ بما قدم وأخر صدق الله العلي العظيم. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Tonight I will put on hold on the topic that we've been discussing for the last few weeks because of the occasion, and inshallah from in the future we will follow the topic of tarbiyat and upbringing, which I believe is an important topic, but right now we have to acknowledge the event. So for that reason, I would like to talk a bit from the teaching of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, which is connected with the teaching of the Quran, is connected and inspired from the teaching of the Prophet. And that's, by the way, I want to emphasize over and over as a follower of School of Ahlul Bayt. We are a Muslim who have that connection with the Holy Prophet and Quran, but on the top of these two we have the teaching of the family of the Prophet, his household, to make sure to follow the right interpretation. There are a lot of different opinions, interpretations, sect after the Holy Prophet, and ultimately we have to choose which one is closest to the teaching of the Prophet and teaching of the Quran. And when you look at the traditions of Ahlul Bayt, one of those that is kind of stands out the most is the one that says, if you notice a tradition, hadith narrated from us, but it was opposing Quran, it was contradicting prophets or the word of Allah, then automatically we know that tradition is not from Ahlul Bayt. You reject it, you dispose of that hadith. That is the level of confidence we have in the teaching of Ahlul Bayt, that they're compatible with Quran, they're compatible with the teaching of the Prophet. But what I want to talk about, again, I try to keep it as short as I can because of the time, is that we have one specific tradition from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, that Imam said, Inna hadithana yuhya al-qulub. That our teaching, our words, one of the function of it is that it revives the heart. It means that if there is a moment in our life that we become a bit numb, indifferent to what's happening, that we start ignoring and forgetting the priority of our faith, then these traditions kind of recalibrate and adjust our focus and revive our heart, bring that attention once again that we have to give to the matter of spirituality. So the verses I recited were from Surah Qiyamat, which is about Day of Judgment. And because we are remembering two marhum, this is a Fatiha and remembrance of two people that they were loved and they have family member among us. Automatically the subject of death and also the life after death comes up. We cannot ignore it. But specifically, death hits us hard when we lose people that we know. When strangers, when people that we may just heard their names, we hear the news that they passed away. We get sad, of course. Sympathy is there. We try to pay our respect to the family, to the one who was deceased. But more importantly is if someone that we met, somebody that we had some kind of close interaction with, once they're gone, although we know it's the same for everyone, but it has a different effect on us. And why is that? Because it's much more visible. When there is someone that you met for years, you talked to them, you had happy memories, maybe some sad memories together. Once they're not with you anymore, you start questioning the whole concept of philosophy of life, why this happened, and the whole concept of mortality becomes a reality. And it is not something that I think that, I have time. I see people one by one that I knew are leaving me. I'm not trying to just focus on the emotion here. Rather, it is important to look at it as a reminder that once we see how uncertain the future is, we can look at it as a reason to be sad and depressed about, or we can look at it and see that I have a limited time. Let me maximize this short time that I have, the way I utilize it and the way I'm going to spend every minute of it. And a scholar was saying an interesting story. He said a young man came to me and he told me, Shaykh, recently I came to this realization and I heard the news that I'm going to die for sure. That I'm dying. And since that time that I heard this news, that I'm dying and I have a limited amount of time to live, I become less stubborn in my decisions. I become more forgiving. Before I realized that, it was very difficult for me to forgive others. I will not be able to let go of things. But right now I say, what's the point? Why am I so stingy to let things go? It's okay. I'm going to leave this dunya anyway. If somebody was trying to get my position, they were competitive, and I will look at them as a threat right now, I said, what's the big deal? If they want it that hard, let them have it. I'm not going to take it with me to the grave. So if they want to have it that bad and they're ready to lie for it, they're ready to do everything wrong possible to get it, let them get it. Money is not that big of a priority for me anymore. If I have it, it's good, but if I don't have it, it does not make me sad. It does not lead me to sleepless nights. That what I'm not richer, why I don't have more money. I'm saying, death is there. What am I so worried about? So this young man told the Shaykh that, tell me that, is this the right thing to do? And I just want to make sure that, is this still really a choice for me, or because I'm dying and I chose this, it's like I had no other choice. So there is no worth that because I saw death now, I become a different person. So the Shaykh said, I told him, no, your decision still matters. Yes, death is close to you, but death is the greatest reminder for man. Our mortality is one of the reasons that if we are in heedlessness, forgetfulness, it wakes us up. So don't worry about it. If you're living a good life, whatever is the remainder of your life, it will count. So out of curiosity, the Shaykh said, I asked him, tell me, how long do you have to live? He said, I don't know. A day? A week? A month? Maybe a year. So the Shaykh said, I was surprised, and I asked him, what do you mean? Do you know what's wrong with you? What kind of a disease you have? Did you consult an expert? And he said, no, I did not, because I'm not sick. So in our paraphrasing, are you messing with me? The Shaykh said, if you're not sick, if you're not dying, what are you telling me? The young man said, no, I came to this understanding. I knew it, but now I realize it. I believe in it, that I'm going to die. That's for sure. I don't know when. But for me, that's clear. I don't know when. I don't need a doctor to tell me that you have 6 months to live or 2 years to live. I know I'm going to eventually leave this dunya. So that is certain. And that makes my outlook, my perspective to life very different. So when we look at death, we can look at it differently. Some people look at death and they're scared of it. We try to change the topic. We don't want to discuss it. We think death is all about sadness, crying, grief. When in reality, death could be a reason to motivate you to be a better person. To stop stressing so much over things that we cannot control. It's all about how we look at it. This is not one of those, hippie kind of non-realistic opinion. This is, our perspective to everything matters. So if you're an optimist, if you're a pessimist, if you are, personality A type of person or B, all of them have an impact on your physiological health as well as your mental health. And of course, we believe in a spiritual health as well. So the way we look at the world and our surrounding, it matters. So Quran in Surah Qiyamat, interestingly, talks about death. But the way Allah look at it and the way we have to look at it, which is a guideline, is that Allah said, on that day, the day that we're referring to after death, the day of judgment, this is the day of resurrection. This is the ultimate accountability. So He said, on that day, human being will say, يَقُولُ الْإِنسَانِ يَوْمَئِذٍ أَيْنَ الْمَفَرِ. On that day, he will say, where is the escape? Where am I going to run to? How can I escape this? Farar, escaping, mafar. Why we want to escape? And Quran continues that Allah is not scary to run away from Him. Don't look at it that people who are running away is all because of the punishment. This is the way you look at it. Yes, there is punishment from the perspective, Islamic perspective. There is consequences, good and bad. Yes, but He's the most merciful. After all those chances and all those opportunity to be forgiven, still, if you fail to get that forgiveness, there's going to be consequences. But Allah said, don't look at it that people who want to run away from what they're running away from. They're not running away from punishment necessarily in this case. Kalla la wazar. The first thing that they're being told, no, there is no one that you can help you in this day. Kalla la wazar. Ila rabbika yawma idhin al-mustaqar. To your Lord. Again, the word Allah uses is very, beautiful, that He could use any names of, attributes and names of God, but He used the word Rabb. Rabb means your Lord, the one who takes care of you, the one who watched you grow. So your Lord is where you're going to. Where you're running from. You cannot run away from anything. There is no other assistant, but you are going to your Lord. And that's the final verse that in my topic, related to my topic, is this one. يُنَبَّأُ الْإِنسَانِ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِمَا قَدَّمَ وَأَخَّرَ. That human being will be informed of, number one, what they sent ahead, what they accomplished when they were alive, بِمَا قَدَّمَ, and the second one, وَأَخَّرَ, and what kind of a legacy they left behind. So that human being will know on the day of judgment about what they sent ahead and about what they left behind. Your accomplishment and your legacy. Your achievement and your legacy. So the reason we're running away is because of these two. Is that we know there's nothing waiting for us. I know there is no way of preparation that I made. So that's the reason I don't want to face the reality. Or the second is that what I left behind is not a good legacy. So either way, I'm trying to run away from facing the reality. So if you're lucky, we're looking at death. Again, I'm not sure. I've seen this attributed to many different thinkers, from Mark Twain to Da Vinci, but I don't know who said it. But it's beautifully said that the same way that when you had a good day of work, when you had a very, what is in our time is referring as productive day. When the night comes and you want to put your head on the pillow, you have a good sleep. Your body is tired. You did what, you kind of took advantage of every possible second and minute of the day. So that night is a good night's sleep. Opposite of somebody who were asleep until 2 p.m., of course they're not going to be sleepy at 10 p.m. If they are, there's something not right. So you have a good day, physically, mentally, you're ready for a good sleep. And that person says, this quote is from that person, says that death is like that if you had a good life, if you lived a good life, then death will be a happy death. A happy sleep comes from a good day of work. A happy death comes from a good life. And Quran just referred to it. بِمَا قَدَّمَ وَأَخَّرَ. It's about what you sent ahead, what you accomplished, and about what you left behind. If what you left behind was hatred, animosity, jealousy, that's all I left behind, that's my legacy, obviously it's not going to be anything good. But if I left behind knowledge, wisdom, forgiveness, mercy, sympathy, compassion, it's going to make a big difference. So Imam Baqir alayhi salam talks about this important concept that we have to live a good life. But how to live a good life is to take advantage of every moment. Every moment, I'm again referring to it, every moment. Yes, there are principles of our faith that are important, like your prayer, fasting, pilgrimage, that Imams refers to. That they said these are, pillars of our faith. Bunya al-Islam ala khams. Famous tradition of Imam Baqir, that Islam was built upon 5 pillars. Salat, which is the prayer, your daily prayers. Sawm, which is fasting. Zakat, which is charity. Hajj, which is pilgrimage. And the 5th one is wilayat, is guardianship. And wilayat is referring to what authority you are abiding by. Who is the authority in your life? Wilayat. Man kuntu mawla fahadha aliyun mawla. Soon we will celebrate, talks about authority. And then the other tradition is a completion of this. Said, what is wilayat? Is our leadership, our guardianship. Imam said, La tanalu wilayatuna. You will never be able to reach our wilayat. Illa bil amal wal wara'. Unless through action and inaction. Wara' is to staying away from the wrong kind of activity. What we consider prohibited, forbidden. So if you want wilayat, the key to wilayat of Ahlul Bayt, according to Imam Baqir alayhi salam, is action. Is how we live. That's why over and over in our tradition is mentioned, if you're lazy, if you have kisalat, you don't have motivation, there's no point. I'm a burden on others, they have to do my chores, they have to do my things. That kind of a person is not having any increase in their faith. That's a loss of faith. That a true mu'min and a believer is someone who is always as-sabiqun as-sabiqun. They're always competing. They're always trying to do more. They never think that, what I've done is enough. I did enough good. I built enough schools, I built enough, I tried to chip in a lot, I did enough. A true believer say is not enough. The more, until my last breath, I do more. I don't lose the reason, I don't lose the motivation. It's easy to say, but to live that is a different story. It's totally a different story. So this is a vague concept, amal, action. The second, wara, stay away from sin. What action we're talking about? What action? Specifically, what are we referring to? Then Imam Baqir give us, let's call them the universal code of action. Because the hadith says, it doesn't matter who you're dealing with a Muslim, with a Christian, with an atheist. There are three codes that you have to do no matter who you're dealing with. These are actions that you have to be loyal to no matter who you're dealing with and in every stage of your life. These are the actions we have to keep in mind. These are, as I said, universal. So if sometimes we're confused, I have to do good, what should I do? Be more clear. Give me a guideline. Give me some actual action plan that I can follow. This tradition give us that. So again, these are all of them from Imam Baqir alayhi salam's teaching. So what are those three universal code according to Imam Baqir alayhi salam that we have to stick with them no matter who are we dealing with? Number one, Imam alayhi salam said, is that you have to be a trustworthy person. Al-wafa bil-ahd. That's the second one. The first one is ada'ul amana. Ada'ul amana is that if somebody trusted you with something, whatever they trusted you with, they give you something to hold for them, they told you a secret, whatever they trusted you with, you must make sure, if that person, again, doesn't matter, their faith is irrelevant, it doesn't matter. You have to be a trustworthy person. That's an action, to be trustworthy. As a neighbor, you trusted me. As a friend, you trusted me. As a co-worker, you trusted. Doesn't matter. I trust you with my car. I trust you with my child. I trust you with what we just talked about. I was, venting a bed. Doesn't matter. The first thing is very important as a mu'min, as a human being, to be decent enough, is that we have to be trustworthy. No way to escape it, no way to find an exemption. Number two is to fulfill your promise. Another, be a man of your word. Or for sisters, be a woman of your word. Wafa bil ahd. If you agreed to something, ahd is a covenant, is a contract. If you agreed to something, no matter what it is, including marriage. In marriage, I agreed to something. That's an ahd. I told my wife, this is what I'm going to do. Doesn't matter if legally they can come and persecute you or come after you or not. Doesn't matter. I give you my word, I'm going to stand by it. The other way goes also. If I signed a contract, the contract is not there anymore, but I did sign it. I told you I'm going to pay you this much. I told you I'm going to take back this product if you didn't like it. Once the time comes to hold up to your end of deal, you should be able to do it. That's an action that you cannot run away from it. These are not easy things, but these are the actions we want to be loyal to. And the third one, birrul walidain, is to honor your parents. Even if your parents are not believers, if your parents are not good to you. Recently we have a lot of these in social media, they talk about how to shut the door on your parents' face. They're so negative. They're spreading negativity. Again, I'm not saying every parent is perfect. No one is perfect. We're not perfect. Some parents have mistakes as well. Maybe they, did not treat us the way that was fair. Maybe they, God forbid, kind of discriminated between us and our sibling. If there's such a thing, I hope never happened for anyone. But even if these things happen, still is not enough reason for somebody to disrespect their parents. This is one of those types of people that you have no choice that said, no, I don't want to talk to you. With other people, Quran said, إِذَا خَطَّبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. If an ignorant, a fool, that does not, you're not able to get to them. If they are not getting what you're saying, walk away from them. They say, peace be with you, and walk away. But with your parents, you don't have choice. The same way, when you were born, it was not a choice that you said, I chose my parents. You were born with those parents. They were given. You cannot change them. You cannot disown them. Even as I said, if they are not ideal parents in your opinion, don't disrespect them. You don't have to suffer, and if they try to hurt you, let them hurt you. I'm not saying that. You can protect yourself and all that if there are such cases. But none of them should be enough reason for somebody to say, I'm going to disrespect them. Birrul walidain. So these are the three actions we want to stick with. Trustworthiness, being the man of your word, and your parents. You cannot run away from them. And then comes to detail. And then that's why we have to look at traditions. Because Quran usually talks about general concept. Quran says, go do what's good. Good deeds. Amalus salih. That's what Quran most of the time says. Believers who are always actively doing good. But details of what kind of good deeds we're talking about, then we come to traditions and they're providing details. So one detail, for example, Imam Baqir, I'm only focusing on his tradition, is that Imam said, if you smile to someone's face, that's a hasana. Tabassum. Tabassum al-rajul fi wajhi akhi hasana. If you smile in your brother's face, again, not necessarily blood brother, it could be a friend, it could be a family. If you smile, tabassum, that's a hasana, that's a good deed. Don't consider it unimportant that I can do in a small act of kindness, and that's not important. It is important. It does matter. When you go work for your family, again, Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, detail. Because we talk about dunya. What's dunya? Dunya is evil. This world mesmerizes you, it distracts you. But at the same time, Quran says, don't forget your share of this dunya. Don't forget what you have to get from this life. So then Imam Baqir opens this up. Imam Baqir said there's some people in the Day of Judgment, when they are entering the Day of Judgment, their face is bright as the full moon. As full moon. It means that they come with that special attention of God. That they are the special person who's walking. They get the attention. And if you want to again use the modern terminologies, the spotlight is on them. Who are they? Guess. Imam Baqir said, the one who works and try to get from this dunya, in other words, they try to make money for three reasons. If you are working, if you're making money, if you have a business, you're working with this dunya for three reasons, then in the Day of Judgment, you will be one of those that the spotlight is on you. You will be as, your face will be as bright as a full moon. Who are them? Number one, the one who works in the dunya in order to avoid asking others for help. Isti'fafan anin nas. That I don't want other people to be dependent on them, to beg or to ask or request others. I want to be independent. If that is the reason you're doing what you're doing in dunya, that's a good reason. And some other religious practices, you see the religious figures, they go in the city, they go in the town, and they ask people for offering, they collect it. In Islam, we don't do that. We don't, we shouldn't. Your integrity, your self-respect matters, go work. Imam Sadiq saw a man without hands, and he was begging. So he came to Imam Sadiq and said, help me. And Imam said, I will, but I'm telling you one thing. وَحْمِلْ عَلَى رَأْسِكَ وَغْنِ عَنِ النَّاسِ. Go use your head and carry people's luggages and people's stuff around, but avoid begging others and asking others for help. Try to stand on your own feet. We need a reason to live, and one of those reasons is to be Active. So don't let one weakness be a reason for me to become a burden on others. Second one, Imam Baqir said, if you're working in dunya, is for that you provide comfort for your family. If that is the reason you're doing it, you want your family to have a comfortable life. You don't want your children, your wife, people in your family to be dependent on others. You want them to live a comfortable life, not a luxurious life. Again, luxury, if you give them to your family, you're not doing them a favor. You're spoiling them, and it will in the long term harm them. We're talking about you try to make sure that their needs are taken care of. You're not going to watch at other people's hand. Oh, they have this, they have that. In a society that a lot of people have the minimums. You can ask a 5-year-old, my daughter, my son, 5-year-old, you should be qani, you should be content. That child doesn't know qanaat yet. So that's the second reason. And the third one, if you're making money, if you're involved in the dunya, Imam Baqir said, in order to help others, including your neighbors, your friends, your extended family, if that's why you're making money, if that's why you're involved with dunya and business, then you are one of the people that you will have the spotlight in the day of judgment. So don't let this idea that the mu'min has to be poor. No. Mu'min doesn't care for poor or rich. These labels doesn't matter. What matters for a mu'min is that all these are means to an end. And that end is to do good, to help my family, to take care of people around me, to make sure I'm not dependent and a burden on others. These are all just a mean to an end. The dunya itself is not my end, is not my goal. When dunya becomes your goal, I just look at the bank account and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. What am I going to do with that money? I don't know. I just want more money. And there's no purpose. There is no goal that you're collecting this money. So in summary, what we talked about tonight is that we can change our perspective toward death. Is that how we live? And Imam Baqir said, if you want to be our follower, if you want our wilayat, you need action. You cannot be lazy. You need to act. And also, inaction means also don't let certain actions and certain behavior and habits comes to your life, which we call them haram. What's Allah forbidden for your own benefit, for your own sake. That's the way you get our wilayat. Not just by words, not by just expressions, not just by lectures and speeches. These are good, but they're not the end. These are, again, a mean to an end. The point of a lecture, the point of a maw'idah, nasihat, is to lead us, motivate us to do the right thing. Otherwise, this additional knowledge for me is an additional burden. That I knew it and I still didn't do it, God forbid. That's an additional burden on me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, help us, first of all, to remember these teachings, these traditions of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, who are a reason of revival of our soul and our heart. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to have a plan for our life, to have this motivation, this ability to always, don't let 1 hour of my life goes without a purpose. Don't let hours of my day goes without a good deed. Even if that good deed is as simple of a smiling and bringing joy to my siblings' life, to my parents' life, to my friends' life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, bless the soul of all of our marhumeen, especially Marhum Maghfur, Hussein Dardashtian, Marhum Maghfur, Hussein Amini, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant their families sabr and patience. And all we say when we hear the news of a departure and the loss of a loved one is to say, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Indeed, we belong to Allah and we shall return to Him. May Allah hasten the return of Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant those who are ill and marid, especially those who are dealing with complication of coronavirus. As you know, the Delta variant is once again brought LA County to mandate the mask. So stay safe, be cautious, even if you got your vaccine, especially in closed spaces as you participate. Is always better to be safe. It's always better to be cautious. There's also tradition when we talk about knowledge. One element of knowledge is that if you can't take a path of precaution, take it. Ihtiyat is, if it's possible, do it. And we have to sometimes, if you want action, we have to embrace discomfort. Yes, the mask is not comfortable. I understand that. It's not comfortable to not hug and, go for the practices and traditions that we had. But this discomfort, if it's going to help, if it's going to protect and save lives, why not? Let's, inshallah, stay safe. Alhamdulillah, as you can see, everyone is wearing masks here. So we're going to just follow that. And I encourage everyone to talk to an expert, to talk to doctors about vaccination. Don't ask me. I'm not an expert. But I will ask you to talk to doctors. And the one that we have in our community, majority of them, I say majority because maybe there's someone with a different opinion, but every single MD doctor that I talked to, the one that I did, they said take the vaccine, consult your family doctor, family physician, talk to them. See what they're going to advise, unless you have, it's kind of a special circumstances because of your health. Majority will advise you to take it, because we don't want, God forbid, anyone to be another name that we hear in our communities that we lost to this virus. But we pray for those who don't have the access to a vaccine, for those who are dealing with this new wave of this new variant. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them, and with those who are ill, may Allah provide them with quick relief, shifa and recovery very soon, inshaAllah. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك مجيب الدعوات، إنك غافر الخطيئات، إنك على كل شيء قدير. رحم الله لمن